Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Before I begin, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and please press the bell icon for notifications so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Your support is greatly appreciated. So let's begin today's video on Venus in all houses. And in this video, we will be covering all 12 houses. Now, Venus represents love and romance, finances, your courtship, material possessions, values, your appearance, the pleasures in life, the luxuries of life, all the good things. So Venus in all the houses. Now, as Venus is placed in every different house, you go from house 1 to 12. Each house actually represents different things. So as Venus moves from house to house, you'll see how that Venus will affect your chart. So Venus, what is it? Again, it's love, passion, relationship with the opposite sex, sensual, enjoying luxuries of life, your creativity, art, things you hoard, your hoarded wealth, jewelry, and the pleasures and enjoyment and happiness of life. So Venus in the first house. So Venus in the first house is the house of Mercury, and it represents your body and life in general. And it is what's going to show your attractiveness. It'll show that you have an appealing personality, that your commitment to loyalty, you have a magnetic charm and a swagger about you. So the first house is your ascendant in your birth chart. So it's your personality, your exterior appearance, your self-image. Venus is, again, it represents beauty and sensuality, the softer things of life, the beautiful things of life. And so this makes the person want to look beautiful. So they will go all out to maintain themselves. So this is somebody who will actually go and get a facelift or do Botox and do fillers. This is someone who will get their highlights done on time. They're somebody who will put time and effort and money into their appearance. They have a very pleasant personality, and they're very self-aware. They're very aware of how they look, and they spend money and time on how they look. They like to also spend a lot of time on their personality and improving their personality. Because they know that they also get recognized that way as well. They love other people, so they get love in return. That's one of the things, there's an exchange because they're in the first house, and that is opposite of the 7th house. So here, they're always giving compliments to other people in hopes of getting returned compliments. So there's that exchange that they do. They like to have a balanced love affairs. They're not overly obsessive or possessive. They're very balanced in their approach to their love affairs. They can love small animals. So with Taurus and Libra signs, they'll like the small animals because again, they're exchanging with the other. They're looking for that companionship. So they like that exchange with the small pets. Again, their self-image is neat, it's clean, they're well dressed. So their appearance means a lot to them. People are attracted to you like, honey to a bee or a bee to a honey, any which way you want to put it. People find you appealing, they find you attractive, and they will gravitate towards you with Venus in the first house. So Venus in the second house. Venus in the second house represents your wealth. It represents your speech. Now, if you have Venus here in the second house, You could be somebody who's born with a silver spoon in your mouth. You could have family wealth and comfort and luxuries. You could also end up with a very beautiful spouse. Here, not only do you like spending your money here, you like spending it on jewelry and diamonds and the luxuries. Um, so here you have it represents family and finance, savings, assets, quality of the food you eat. So the second house also represents your speaking, your vocal cords, your abilities. Uh, it also represents family business. It represents the area of the face and the throat. Um, so you could be very concerned about your face in particular, how it looks, the upkeep of your face. You'll be spending a lot of money on luxuries and clothes and jewelry. You can hoard jewelry and clothing. You can have a very large closet, a large shoe collection, a large, makeup collection, large jewelry collection. These are the people who enjoy their luxuries. So Venus in the second house is saving money and spending it on luxuries. So you have money, so therefore you're spending it, but you're spending it on luxuries. You could have a very good singing voice, a pleasant voice. You can also have a very pleasant speaking tone. Um, and you could also enjoy very fine, expensive dining because, again, this is the region of the throat and of food. So, again, Venus is it's luxury, it's expensive. So, fine dining. Venus in the second house, they love public speaking. And they could be in the business of jewelry making. So, jewelers, it could be somebody in the makeup industry, cosmetology, somebody who's a facial plastic surgeon. Um, they like traditional and they like culture because they like art. So they'll like things like museums and art exhibits. They are, again, family oriented. They could even be a financier. Those are the types of businesses they gravitate towards. Venus in the second house. So when it's in the second, the fourth, the fifth, and the 11th, that shows luxury and fun, enjoying life with all the material gains and all the materialism. Rahu with Venus could show somebody who has a immense desire for a lot of luxuries. So somebody like a gold digger, who their focus, their attention, their passion is towards just getting all the luxuries. Venus in the third house. That represents your courage, it represents your younger siblings, your vocal expression, how diplomatic you are, how generous you are in giving compliments to other people. It makes a person polite and persuasive. It can make you very articulate, and it also can make you very creative. So the third house is the house of efforts, hobbies you do with your hands, things you create with your hands, your younger siblings. It represents the media industry. It represents any kind of artistic talent that you may have. So, decorating, interior decorating, architectures, painting. You could be writing novels, and particularly romance novels, if Venus is placed there, because Venus is the planet of love. Venus in the third house. You could have great managerial skills, especially if you have your own business. And if you are somebody who's creative, you can make your own business out of your creativity. This also shows short distance travels, and it also shows awakening your kundalini very easily with the sixth sense. So being awake, being energetic, somebody being well slept. So you know how some people, they wake up grumpy and in a bad mood and they're not morning people. Well, Venus in the third, they wake up in a pleasant mood. They are wide awake, and they have the right energy. So their sixth sense of that house is heightened, and they're very very easily abled to activate their kundalini. And Venus in the third house, feminine planet, is well surrounded by a lot of females. So, so you could be somebody who's working in an environment which has a lot of females. So you could work, in the makeup industry, in the fashion industry, anywhere, modeling, anywhere where there's a lot of females around you all the time. Because the third house is your immediate environment, your local environment, um, your um, your everyday. It's not large groups. This is the smaller groups. So you could meet your spouse and get into or any kind of love relationship through your hobbies, your immediate environment, small local group settings. So, for instance, if if you're an artist who makes jewelry, you could meet your spouse at the local fair. There you are, in a group setting, an event, and you're selling your hobby. So it has to do with your hobbies, your self efforts, and your local environment. Venus in the third house, it also represents sudden changes in love life, so shocks. So things here can happen very suddenly because the sixth is from the eighth here. So we're talking about Saturn, which is the house of sudden changes, and Venus being the karka of love and relationships, it'll cause sudden changes in your love relationships. So you could have a situation where somebody just decides all of the sudden that they don't want to be in this relationship. It could be someone who just gets up and leaves one day. It's out of nowhere where it's very sudden, very quick, unexpected, and it's shocking. So Venus in the fourth house represents your home, your mother. It's your everyday home environment, the comforts of life, your happiness, your nourishment. It's all the things that make you feel warm and cozy and happy and secure in life. And if you have Venus in the fourth house, that'll make you lovable and it'll make you grateful. You'll be looking to have, and you will try to have peaceful relationships with the opposite gender. Especially with your mother and your spouse, you'll keep the peace all the time in the relationship. You'll seek to keep a balance and peace at home, and you'll try to beautify your home and your life, and your spouse, you can meet them through your mother. You can meet them in your homeland where you're born, and that is the Venus in the fourth house. So Venus in the fourth house is again your happiness at home, your mother, your education, your nourishment, comfort. It's the conveniences of life. And that's where it has its maximum strength, its directional strength, which is called Digbala, which means that Venus is actually in the water area of your chart. So here it does well. So Moon and Venus both do well here. And you get really good supportive mother who provides perfect nourishment for you. So you have a beautiful home. You could be into designing your home, decorating your home. You could be a home decorator. You could also have a business from your home, and you're very attached to your home. So some people who they feel very, very attached to their home. So when they move or they have to move, they get very emotional because there's that emotional tie to their home. Venus here is happy, and it's also happy looking at the 10th house here, the house of careers. So this has a positive influence over your house of careers as well. And you love art, you love to perform. And you do well with real estate, so you could also be a real estate agent. And if you were to be a real estate agent, you would most likely sell houses that are beautiful because, again, Venus, right? So, and if you're a teacher, then you're going to want to make sure that your environment is beautiful. It's welcoming. It's warm and comfortable for your students. Um, you don't like religiously. You don't like a lot of overly religious people, and the reason being is that you don't want to really deal with laws and restrictions and rules. Venus here doesn't really particularly like that. You will have beautiful vehicles, and here you will be well educated because you have the nourishment of the home and the home environment. So it sets you up well in life. You know how they say nurture or nature. Well, here you're really getting nurtured. And here, where you'll find the dramatic changes in life will be in your network circles. So here you can meet your spouse through your mother in your homeland in a comfortable, loving environment. So sometimes, I mean, you could be somewhere very chaotic, somewhere upsetting, and that's where you meet the person, not here. Here, it's a good environment, it's a comfortable environment, loving, supportive. It's all the feel good part of your chart. So, Venus in the fifth house. Venus is the fifth house. Fifth house represents the your intellect. It represents children. It represents playfulness and sensuality, romance, and it represents your crushes, your love marriage. So this basically represents your academic studies, the creation of children, because it's a house of creation, because it's the creativity. So your creative talents are also shown here. How involved you are with politics shows here. Past life deeds and achievements are seen through here. So that's why they say, oh, you'll be blessed with a child, because your blessings are seen through this house. Ancient knowledge is also seen here. And Venus has fun in the fifth house, because the fifth house is all about fun. And Venus is a happy planet. So it's happy having a lot of fun here. So happiness through their creativity, they're good parents as well. So if you have Venus in the fifth house, you'll be more of a motherly figure. Even if you're, the father here will be more motherly, because it's the house of, creation and happiness, and it's good parenting. And here, if you're more likely to have a female child, and this female child will be a beautiful female child, because Venus is beauty. Here is the house of romance, romance leading to love marriages. So here, you could have a love marriage. And here you can also make a living off of your fun. So you take what you like and what you enjoy, and you actually make a living out of it. You could meet your spouse in all the fun places of life, places that are creative, any political places, artistic gatherings, anything of that sort. You could meet your spouse there. Here, what I would say is follow your passion, okay? Because Venus and in the fifth house do well if you follow your passion. If you don't follow your passion, it will negate your happiness. Okay, the fifth house also, Venus in the fifth house will show cinema and acting, the love of children, and you'll also have a interest in the occult, the deeper sciences. So Venus in the sixth house. Now, sixth house is the house of enemies and worry. It's the house of your of being of service. So here, this makes you a perfectionist. Here, you'll be less intimate. You'll be more helpful and more caring and more practical towards your relationship, but less romantic. You'll also be health conscious, and you'll have a love of your work and self-improvement here. So you're less romantic, but you do put in good efforts to serve and be of service to your partner. There is a love of animals here, and sixth is the house of duty, and it's the house of your competitive enemy, your coworkers. If you're having any kind of a divorce processing, it's done here. This is the house of disease and small animals, so your pets are seen here. So you could be doing social work because it's the house of service. You could be a lawyer because you're dealing with conflicts and contracts. Also, vets are seen from here because it's a love of animals. And it's also the underprivileged, and so things like orphanages are seen through here. Divorces are seen through the sixth house. Um, so sixth house here will create problems with contracts, like divorce, right? Is a contract. So another thing with Venus in the sixth house is the house of service, therefore servants. Venus being a good planet, you're actually good to your servants. You treat them well. You treat them with respect. You pay them their due, and that's one of the good aspects here of Venus being in the sixth. Now Venus in the sixth for your career. See, Moon is your mind, and Venus is your passion. So you could actually have you could actually meet your spouse through your mother's sister here. So your Masi, you could meet your spouse through them. You could meet your spouse through your servants, through any kind of services that you provide. Now, Venus in the seventh house. That's the house of marriage, the house of partnership, the house of spouse and desires. And this is the luckiest, happiest placement because you get all your pleasures. Um, and it strengthens your relationships. You have a mutual understanding and appreciation for your partner. You could also be the backbone of your family. And if you have Rahu sitting here with Venus, that could indicate a love marriage. It could also indicate a interracial, intercaste, interreligious marriage. So the person is different than you because here Rahu wants the exotic, the different. So it's very passionate here, and here basically. Okay, let's just undo that. So here is the house of the other, and here is the house of you. So here, the exchange with the other is well placed. You're able to have that good exchange with the other. The concentration is on the other, so all the efforts are there that you put in. Venus in the seventh house is the house of marriage, other people. Whereas the first house is you, seventh house is the other people. So it's your partner, your marriage partner, your business partner. It's the house of legal agreements. So any kind of contract you get into to form partnerships. So the first house is you serve yourself. In the seventh house, you're serving the other people, or the other person, or the others. So the first is opposite of the seventh, which is so you have a good relationship with the opposite sex. And here, because you're in service to the other, that's what improves your relationship because you're putting in the efforts, you're putting the appreciation, you're doing your you're giving your best here. And Venus in the seventh deals with masses. It's also the house of business. And it's quite comfortable here. Venus shows its true qualities here, and it makes the wife someone who. So if you're a man with Venus in the seventh, you could have a wife who's a matchmaker. She's great at deals and getting things done, sort of like a go-getter. She could be an attorney, And your wife could also, because Venus house, it's the sign of beauty and luxuries. She could be an interior decorator. She could be, because legal contracts, she could be an attorney, a matchmaker, and the because you're in exchange with the other to provide service to the other. Here you're also you're willing and wanting to provide and keep the wife happy. Okay, so you're a good provider with Venus in the seventh. So the husband here tries to keep a good balance in the relationship, because Venus it rules Taurus and Libra, and Libra is the scales, right? Keeping balance and harmony and peace and keeping things very pleasant. So 10th from the 10th. So if Venus is in the seventh, so 10th from the 10th house of careers. So it has a positive influence over your career house, and your career will thrive after marriage, because what happens is Venus will activate the 10th house. So it brings in all the luxuries, and it brings in all of the good luck and fortune, and all the gains into your 10th house. So Venus in the 7th house, for a man, he gets a beautiful wife. Venus in the 7th house, a woman will get a beautiful husband, because it's the house of beauty and sensuality, of a pleasant personality. Okay, so aspects on Venus. So if you're looking at negative and positive aspects, then if you're looking at Venus with Ketu, then you're looking at you could have unsatisfied. You could be very unsatisfied with your partner. If you have Venus with Rahu, you could be looking for something in your partner that isn't there, which then could lead to you looking for that something, and you could end up cheating. Venus sitting with the moon, it can make the wife very clever. It can make her a deal maker. It could make her very sharp, very sharp. Saturn with Venus, or an aspect with Venus, it creates delays in marriage. Creates delays and obstacles in relationships. It could also bring in an older spouse. So you could be in relationships with older people than yourself. Aspects on Venus and conjunctions. So with Venus and Sun, you're looking at insecurities in your spouse. With Venus and Mars, somebody who's overly sexual. And Venus and Jupiter, you're looking at somebody who provides balance and sensuality, and somebody who actually will teach you, bring lessons to your life. They'll be bringing in knowledge that you weren't aware of before. They'll bring a sense of learning to your life. Venus in the 8th house. 8th house is the house of longevity, vulnerability. It's cautions with love. It's wealth through your in-laws. It's easy loans through banks and through your in-laws. It's inheritance. If you have Venus here, you could be overly obsessed with sensual pleasures. So Venus in the 8th house is the house of secrets, sudden events, death and birth, joint assets with your spouse, relationships with your in-laws, occult sciences, things that are hidden below the surface. Secrets, are hidden below the surface. Venus here shows secret affairs. So if you have Venus here, you could find that you could find a spouse in a secretive situation, secretive. You could find your spouse in a secretive situation. So you could find your spouse through something that is not known to other people. Okay, so they could be the relationship could be kept secret as well. Um, Aspects of the relationship will be also kept secret. You're not going to be you're not going to share too much details about the relationship or your partner. You're very private about your relationship and your partner. Now, in a man's chart, Venus in the eighth house, um, it represents a man who feels suffocated. They can feel confined, because here the woman, the wife, will have, because Venus being here, will have control. He's looking constantly for his wife's approval, and the wife here is not the most compassionate that she could be. So here, the man actually, it's not the best placement for Venus here on a man's chart, I would say. And it also depends on the other aspects and suns, and you have to look at everything. Venus in the eighth house does represent your in-laws, so getting help from your in-laws, financial help. They can help to provide resources and provide um, 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 inheritance and property, and a lot of things can come through your in-laws. Your joint assets here will increase, and here you can also have you could have a good interest in the occults, but this is something that you actually hide from people. You don't want to you don't want to share that, so you actually deny it. Secret love affairs and dealings are seen in the eighth house. So female's chart, if you have Venus in the eighth house, you could be a natural healer. You could have healing energies. You're blessed from the gods with that ability. Now, you'll also be very strict about your assets. A woman here would want to have awareness of the finances of the marriage. She doesn't, sometimes in a marriage, the man handles all the finances and the woman doesn't really handle the financing part of things. Here, the woman would want to know what's happening with the finances, where the money's coming from, where the money is going, how much do we have saved. And they do believe in the occult. Now, Venus with the Venus in the eighth house shows affairs that don't damage the relationship because of the reason that they're not exposed. Now, mind you, if you have other things like the sun, um, playing a role here, that could be a different case. But just the Venus in the eighth house, the affairs are not exposed. It could show the sex industry. It could show prostitution. Venus, basically here, your love, your body is being exploited. So the film industry. So when you have people in the film industry are kind of put here in the eighth house as well, because they do a lot of like love scenes. They do a lot of like on-screen romance, and that's taken as exploiting love. So here, it's not necessarily a good thing, but it is seen through the eighth house. So Venus in the ninth house is a house of higher learning and dharma. And here, this makes you a free spirit. Now, there's a bit of irritation in the ninth house with Venus, because it's forced to live by the virtues of law and religion and spirituality. And Venus is love and luxury and material gains, right? So that's a little bit of an irritation there. Your spouse can also be of a different religion or different race. They could also be from a different town or culture, because this represents long distance. So Venus in the ninth is higher learning. It's religious pilgrimages, religious learning, long distance travel. It's the house of luck and blessings from the gods. So you can meet your spouse through pursuits of religious pursuits. You can find love and pleasure in higher learning. These people are well traveled. Venus in the ninth can indicate love marriage. It shows a good relationship with your spouse and your in-laws because um, your nature is more optimistic and cheerful. And here the natives forced to live by the virtues of law and religion and spirituality. So that's the only thing where Venus isn't the most comfortable. It's a little irritated. Venus with Rahu is what can show the religious interracial marriages, because again, Rahu likes different things. It likes exotic things, so it veers away from and has its extreme desire for different and more. You can meet your spouse through your father or your guru, and you can also meet your spouse through religious events and at religious places. Venus in the 10th house. The 10th house is your house of profession, your reputation, your career, your status, your ego. And here you want to be the center of attention. You want a good social position here. This gives a good career, especially career out of hobbies. People might look at you and think you're a little bit pretentious with this placement, and you could find your spouse through your work or your work environment here. So Venus in the 10th, you love to be the center of attention, good social status, good career from a hobby. You're very compliant and you follow the rules, which means you don't get in trouble with the laws here because Venus is a pleasant planet. You're sensible here. It gives a good sense of support from your peers and authorities and your colleagues. Your nature here is polite and charming, kind. Venus in the 10th house. You're looking for a partner who appreciates your wealth, your material possession, your status in society. And Venus in the 10th gives name, fame, intelligence, social success, and you can be born a diplomat. Venus in the 11th, that's the house of gains, of happiness. And you could meet your spouse through your community here, through your elder siblings, through your elder friends, through your social life. In this house, Venus makes it easy for you. So the gains here are easy. You have liquid assets, you have vehicles, you have property. Your spouse will be wise and loyal and devoted. So this is a very good placement with a good deal of material wealth, liquid wealth, easy gains. You will be here highly affectionate and loving with your friends. You'll cherish and appreciate your friends, and you will like to be out and about. Relationships, they have to have a level of friendship in your relationship to sustain a romantic interest. That's very important because 11th house is the house of friendship, and you're putting Venus there. So romance and friendship need to go hand in hand here. Again, you can meet your spouse in all large gatherings, big get-togethers, through your friend circle, your older siblings. Venus in the 12th house. Now, Venus in the 12th house, what is the 12th house? It's the house of enlightenment, of death, of isolation, of moksha. So, and the 12th house is also foreign lands. So you could actually meet your spouse in a foreign land here. He could be a foreigner. You could also have a very spiritually inclined spouse. You can meet them at a spiritual get together, at a quiet place, at a hospital, because this is also representative of isolation. So hospitals and jail, I don't want to say that, but anything that's isolated, and foreign lands. So if you're here, you'll have a good respect for your elders, and you're inclined to your spirituality here, and you will have romance and beauty. You'll also have a social appeal here, and this is Venus here will give you prosperity. So this is Venus in the 12th house. You could be a charming dreamer, very romantic, spiritually active. You can love to spend time alone because it's a house of isolation. Happiness through intimacy and sex from early age. Married life is happy, and people love, you love people more than you love material things here, because you have a higher sense of spirituality here. Material gains and comforts of life are here for you, and there is no shortage of friends. You enjoy time with small animals, and you can actually make a living through them. So this was Venus for you, and next video that I will have up for you soon is Jupiter in all the 12th houses. Everything you want to know about your husband, secrets of Jupiter. So don't miss that video. Thank you for liking and subscribing to my channel. Please make comments below, and please comment on what you would like me to talk about next, and I will make sure that I will have those up for you soon. Thank you so much for watching my video today. Until next time, bye.